This edition of One Play Wednesday is going to look at Christian McCaffrey's touchdown pass against the LA Rams and the 49ers 31-14 win. Of course, they pulled away from a 14-10 deficit, scoring 21 unanswered points in the second half. Cooper Kupp gets hurt late in the game. Really rough day for the Rams. Really brilliant moments for the 49ers and McCaffrey, the way they used him. They won this game without Deebo Samuel. They've now won, I think, 8 consecutive, or is it 7 consecutive regular season games against the Rams. Of course, they lost in the NFC title game last year. Really interesting the way that they're using Christian McCaffrey, and a guy who is extremely versatile in the run and the pass, and apparently throwing the ball as well. So we'll look at the touchdown pass, which is really unique. A lot of trick plays, not just in the NFL but in other levels, are utilizing pre-snap motion. So there's eye candy for you. In this case, the eye candy is McCaffrey catching the ball out in the flats with the threat to run, right? Run after the catch. And it's a beautiful throw. I mean, well-timed, hits him in stride. The Rams safety is going to, come up once he sees McCaffrey catch the football. I mean, these guys are getting depth initially, but then once they see the ball out there, they're going to attack. I mean, that's generally what you're going to get. But the ball's thrown backwards, obviously, and you've got guys attacking at this point. But part of it is the sell. Okay, you've got a sell here by the number 1 and number 2 receiver. So let's check them out. They sell that they're going to block on Jalen Ramsey, who's playing nickel, and the corner, and then they stutter out. So he stutters out. This guy stays in to block. Why? So McCaffrey has a throwing platform, a clean throwing platform. Safety's coming forward as well. So they've, seen the ball thrown. Their eyes are telling them to go attack. And unfortunately, they were wrong. Big play in the first half, I think, to help the 49ers even the score after the Rams went right downfield, took a 7-0 lead. Here's the end zone now. You can see you got 2 tailbacks in the backfield. Not necessarily anything indicating to you that it's a trick play coming up. So you have the option of giving the ball to this running back, at least in terms of if you're a defender, what's trying to keep you honest. You can see the guy, the tight end, is blocking, or at least making himself available to block. Jalen Ramsey's not really doing much to try to attack it. Perfectly thrown ball right there in stride for the touchdown. Apparently McCaffrey had 2 younger brothers that were quarterbacks. I did not know that. All right, some other plays from the game as the 49ers took control. Like I said, outscored them 21-0 in the second half. Beautifully executed power play. I mean, it's just a perfect example of how to block power. Now, they're doing it out of 22 personnel. So you've got 2 tight ends here. And the Rams certainly have tried to match that with numbers. They brought an 8th guy into the box, in this case what looks like a strong safety. Got a kick-out block by the fullback. Pulling guard, wraps up on the front side inside linebacker. And this tight end does a great job. He's going to combo Donald to the backside inside linebacker, which is this player right here. You get a kick-out block by the fullback on this edge player. And then the guard's going to wrap to the front side inside linebacker here. It's a perfect example of how to block power, especially when the strong safety, the 8th guy in the box. And look, just putting 8 guys in the box isn't some magic way to stop the run. I mean, that's been happening for decades. There's people out there that are like, oh, just put 8 guys in the box and they'll stop your run. That's not true. You can execute it. This is a perfect example. This is the tight end whose feet started somewhere around in here. And you can see he has sealed the backside inside linebacker. This is the guard. Let's rewind back where his feet were. His feet were somewhere around in here. So leverage side, the guard has essentially sealed out the front side inside linebacker. The tight end, leverage-wise, has essentially sealed in the backside inside linebacker. And so you've got this nice seam developing here. 8th defender thinks he's getting a crack block, so he's trying to fight for outside leverage. It's not a crack. It's just the wide receiver, number 11, coming down, giving McCaffrey the option of possibly scooting this out the front side, but the edge defender is, hedging inside the kick-out block. Downhill, huge run. When that starts happening to your defense, you're in a little bit of trouble. When people can just run power at you. All right, a split zone play. And I love how the 49ers do this. I've seen this for 2 or 3 years. It's not necessarily unique, but they do this more often than other teams. So the split zone element is going to be this guy in motion, kicking out that edge player, okay? And then the offensive line is going to be working this way. So they're all working, like zone to the right. But the element that I think is interesting and unique is that they're attaching another tight end, so it's 12 personnel, to the formation, and then he's going to work and seal what becomes the front side inside linebacker. Really, he's the backside guy because we're talking about zone right. All right, so we're talking about zone this way. All right, with the offensive line. So technically, for me, this is the front side inside linebacker. This is the backside guy. So they've sealed off the backside inside linebacker with Kittles, and then they've kicked out, or at least, protected from the backside edge, allowing McCaffrey to cut this thing all the way back. And when you have the kind of agility that he does, this is kind of easy to do for him. 7-man front. Looks like a base 3-4 personnel grouping. Final piece to this, and you'll see it later. Again, the backside tight end is sealing off what I call the backside inside linebacker. Watch as the play develops. Off screen, you're going to see a receiver come in, and he's going to pretty much execute the same thing on the backside safety that Kittles executes on the backside inside linebacker. Beautiful blocking scheme, beautiful execution. That's why the 49ers are able to do all these things, because they have guys that can catch the football at receiver and tight end, and those guys are willing to block. And that's why they win games that maybe some people would think they, quote, shouldn't win, because they play football the right way for each other. All right, McCaffrey out of the backfield. Same formation, basically, as the last one, except it's under center. I think this is a 3rd and long, and I don't believe they got the first down, but I could be wrong. So when I say same formation, it's 2 tight ends again, McCaffrey in the backfield, but now the quarterback is under center. So the last one was Ace Gun, and this one's just Ace. I mean, you can understand why they're, I don't want to say force-feeding him the ball. He had 8 catches for 55 yards, 18 carries for like 94 or 95 yards. This is his brilliant touchdown catch late in the progression. He's not really supposed to run anything to the end zone. It looks like he's, when you get the all-22, you'll see it. It looks like he's supposed to just sit in the flats. Beautiful jumping catch. Not really challenged, because the guy who was covering the flats, as you see from the all-22, he's surprised when McCaffrey takes it vertical. I think maybe Garoppolo was a little bit too. Took him a minute to deliver the football. So here's McCaffrey down here. He's going to give you the same motion he ran on the double pass, and then just sitting out in the flats. And you got some route combination being worked here by the number 1 and number 2 receiver. This guy's going to end up sitting in the flats. McCaffrey's going to recognize a little bit of an opening in the back of the end zone, make an unbelievable catch after. I mean, let's give Jimmy Garoppolo credit. It's a great throw by him. It's an adjustment throw. That does not appear to be, the design of the play, and I think I even heard those guys say that. The cool thing about he's really smart, well, it's not cool if you're a defensive coordinator like I was, not anywhere near this level, but these guys that run these trick plays, they also give you the same look and then run the basic play off of it, the base play off of it, which is just like a little swing pass, or they're blocking out into the flat. So now this is later in the game, now that the 49ers are actually running just a swing pass to McCaffrey, blocking out on the edge. It's not a huge gain, mind you. I think they actually get a penalty at the end of this play. I'm not a big fan of stuff like that being called a penalty, but it is what it is. But this is the same motion they gave on the double pass. Makes you a little bit softer here, even though this corner, I think, does a pretty good job of trying to take on the lead blocker. I mean, you can see how committed he is now, taking on the lead blocker. So pretty good job by the Rams, if you ask me. Just mentioning the conflict that the offensive coordinator tries to put people in. All right, another split zone that he takes to the front side this time for a big gain, leading to, I think, what is pretty much the nail in the coffin for the game. So, again, 2 tight ends. McCaffrey this time is on the right. The previous iteration of split zone, he was on the left. This tight end, which I think is Kittles, is going to go left to right and go get the edge player. And then all the linemen and the backside tight end are all working zone left. And again, you've got, my bad. Again, you've got the backside receiver working to the backside safety to kind of allow that cutback for McCaffrey. Here, you should have the backside tight end working to the backside inside linebacker. He might not get there in every example of this this run scheme. Kick out block by Kittle's going low on 54. Backside inside linebacker is sealed off by the backside inside linebacker, backside tight end. And the tackle is able to work up to the front side inside linebacker. Doesn't really get a huge piece of him, but just enough for McCaffrey to squeak through there, and you will get the end zone angle. They're using him, perfectly right now. Hope the guy can stay healthy for their sake. I'm sure other NFC teams, don't want to have to deal with all this stuff. Backside tight end, working up there. He's going to cut 54 or try to cut him. And then watch the tackle combo up. He doesn't get a huge piece of the inside linebacker for real, but just enough to allow McCaffrey to cut off of that. You like to see him get, just a little bit bigger piece of him, but he doesn't know where McCaffrey is. He just knows where the inside linebacker is trying to work through. And then McCaffrey almost takes this thing to the house. Capped off with this pretty easy 1-yard touchdown run. I mean, what do you think? The 49ers without Deebo Samuel go in there and beat the Rams pretty convincingly. And the way they did it, 21-0 score differential in the second half. I think they held the Rams to 58 yards in the second half, I believe. That's kind of scary. If you're an NFC team, and there's certainly some really good ones, right? The Eagles, the Giants, the Vikings, all of those teams record-wise, really impressive. This looks like another 49ers team that nobody really wants to deal with late in the year. And Shanahan just keeps doing this. Picking up McCaffrey, of course, they gave up a ton of draft capital to get him. Right now, looks like a genius move. How versatile he is, and Deebo Samuel is just as versatile and just as dangerous, and just as, in terms of making big plays down the field, Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel really give them a 1-2 punch along with the receiver. I'm glad the Ravens aren't in the same conference as them because they're not an easy out. I don't care if you face them in the wild card round. I don't care if you face them at home like Dallas did last year. The 49ers are going to figure out a way to put you in conflict with the run, pass stuff, and adding McCaffrey just pushes them kind of over the top. I would not be surprised to see the 49ers be a serious threat in the NFC if they're able to stay healthy. You guys let me know what you think of Christian McCaffrey. First, his touchdown pass up the right sideline, his overall game in Week 8, and then how the 49ers have been deploying him so far.